I'm guessing the world as a whole doesn't know much about the Indus dolphin. Why is it in danger?
One of the things that makes it endangered is the Pakistan's very complex and large system of dams, barrages, and canal irrigation systems. But when the dolphin goes into these canals and it goes into areas where dolphins are not part of the common mythology of the area, people do fear them, and it does happen that they do kill them in fear, because maybe they'll see a dolphin once every 5 years or once every 10 years or once every 3 years. And these are farming communities. These are not, strictly speaking, fishing communities.
How exactly do these dams threaten the dolphins?
These canals inundate in the summer in high water volume months, and the dolphins go into these canals, which are meant to irrigate crops and farms. And so when they get stuck in these canals, there's a few things that happen. When the water dries, which it does in the winter during low water periods, they are victim to the elements. And dolphins can breathe oxygen, but they don't have melanin, for example, so they can burn in the sun. And they don't have the ability to shelter themselves from draft. So those two things can kill them. Another thing is that people draw their nets in canals to catch fish that do things as the dolphins. And dolphins are oxygen breathing animals. So if they get stuck in a net and they're underwater, if they don't come up for oxygen after 3 minutes, they will die, likely within 4 or 5 minutes. I don't know if you've seen a picture of an Indus dolphin, but it does look a bit strange. It has a very large melon head with what looks like no perceivable eye, because they're blind and they've evolved without retinas. So they rely on a very complex, highly developed echolocation system. And they have these very long snouts with very visible teeth. They're a prehistoric animal. We have to remember that the Indus River dolphin is about 40 million years old. It's about almost the same age as the Indus River. In fact, dolphins and whales evolved from Pakistan, from the Potwar Plateau, which used to be called the Tethys Sea. So it is, in a way, a proto-dolphin. It is the dolphin before the dolphin, which is why it has an almost alien dinosaur kind of look, which some people shy away from when they make the Indus River dolphin, for example, in drawings. They try and make a cartoonish, flipper, American Hollywood style dolphin, because it's more aesthetically pleasing than this long snouted dinosaur. But I think that's what makes our dolphin special. That's a beauty in itself.
Yeah, I've seen a few photographs. The teeth are impressive for a dolphin. It's absolutely beautiful, including the color. I know you have been doing a lot of work. You've laid out quite a few issues or problems or challenges that there are for these dolphins to survive. Firstly, can you give me a sense of how many dolphins there were before the expansion of humans in the area? And secondly, what does your organization do to help?
So just in terms of the data about the population of the dolphin, so Dr. Jill Brolick did a research into the historic range of the Indus River dolphin. She's a Scottish scientist, comes to Pakistan very regularly. And in her paper, she quoted a British zoologist in 1879 called John Anderson. And he did the first ever census of the Indus River dolphin, and he approximated that there were 10,000 in the range from the Himalayas, from the foothills of the Himalayas, till the meeting of the Indus River with the sea. And that dolphins, for Pakistanis, this will be very shocking to hear, but there was a time that you could stand on the ramparts of the Lahore fort and see dolphins in the Ravi. So they were present not only in the mainstream of the Indus, like they are today, but also in all of its tributaries and over a very wide range. Over the years, as the dams and barrages, and there's a very clear relationship between the dams and the barrages and the dolphin. It's an undeniable relationship. You know, from 1879 was actually when the first barrage was built on the Ravi River, and the dolphin population soon disappeared from Punjab, from the other rivers that joined the Indus, by about the 1940s or 1950s. Then in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, barrages were built on the mainstream of the Indus. So from having existed in this huge wide range of tens of thousands of square kilometers, they are now restricted to 700-kilometer single length of the river, and not even the full length of the river. and there are now 2,000 dolphins. But this is up from 150 dolphins in the 1960s. So they almost went extinct. We almost lost them in a 100-year span. From 1879 till 1974, they went from 10,000 to 150. And this corresponds obviously with the expansion of the dam and barrage and canal irrigation system in Pakistan. So obviously conservation efforts since the 70s have actually yielded incredible results. Pakistan, I think, is exemplary in its conservation efforts. And our group, Bulhan Bachao, is but a recent addition to a long history, 50 years of conservation by the Sindh Wildlife Department and more recently WWF, among other private organizations that are also funding and feeding into this. What we do is actually is a bit niche. So I was mentioning the canals that the dolphins get stuck in. It is, their main threat is the canals, and the communities that live on the canals become first responders, right? If you see a dolphin, they have the choice to save this life and potentially propagate the species further, or end the life and potentially end even more lives that could have been propagated if this dolphin was saved. And in a population of 2,000, saving one is huge, or killing one also is a big deal. So we go to these communities and we show a movie, a Sindhi language movie about the Indus River dolphin, its anatomy, why it's not dangerous, why it's also, we bring a little bit of religion in, that Islam teaches people not to harm living things, and that in fact you can get spiritual reward for saving a dolphin. Our tagline, which was developed actually by my mentor, Hussein Bakhsh Bhagat, was "Bulhan ke bachayo sawab kamayo," which means save a dolphin and earn spiritual reward. And we teach them about the dolphin. We give out toys to the kids in the community. We give out food to the community. And, we do about 5 or 6 or 7 of these camps along different canals. So it's very labor intensive. It's very thought intensive. It's very, how do we manage this? Notice that we've done 2 canals in 2 years, because we're only 2 years old. And we've noticed that there's huge differences in when you do it and what communities.
Yeah.
And we also do medical camps for the humans. A lot of people say you do medical camps for dolphins, and we don't. But we do medical camps for the humans. And the whole point is that we center the human experience in conservation. In fact, some would say we're more preservationists than conservationists, because we're not looking at this from a profit-making perspective. We're not looking at this from that kind of zone. We are thinking along the lines of how do we educate people and how do we solve the problem before there is a problem. So that is our work.